Yes, Namaskar, Suraj Singh again. This is regarding book Civil Engineering Building Practice that I discussed in the last video, Management of Site Building Constructions. This book, which was written 1922 to 26, was published in 1996 first time, related to building civil engineering blocks. Really, for that time there were no computers, nothing, just I wrote it by hands, manual script, everything, no computers. Well, I just explained to you about the various processes in planning, in construction, in management of that, and explain to you up to site meeting. What site agent, etc. site agent should do. I'll keep continuing that one. And I'll start. I had explained about meeting, budget meeting, context meeting, package. Package I had explained to you that once you go to a meeting, you must have a package of submission, and that is called general meeting or site meeting or progress review meeting. Now, agenda of that meeting is, I'll explain the agenda. Agenda of contact meeting, site meeting, general meeting, so again various names. This agreement on recorded minutes of last meeting by resident engineer and before this apology, if any received, shall be recorded. Means we have to go through agreement of last recorded minutes, means past meeting minutes. This is very important. And if somebody is absent, this record and he has sent some apology, must be recorded. Next is progress in details of whole project. Progress in details of whole project, scope, contract, and meeting involved, including progress of allied services, referring to minutes of coordination and and technical meeting minutes already issued by resident engineer and on queries of allied services, coordinations, issues. Contractors agent and Indian project coordinator for resident engineer shall be supposed to respond due to subcontractors engineer would not normally be present once they have attended technical and coordination meeting. So technical and coordination part of this meeting is very, very significant, which must be thoroughly understood prior to attending this meeting. Detailed discussions and material submittals, approvals and deliveries and any other related problems on same and shall base upon material submittal and delivery schedule as submitted by contacted duly updated. Sorry. Detailed discussion. Let me sit down, please. Can I say detailed discussions on shop working drawings in connection with building works, if any. Hmm. Quality control on site and remedial measures taken in case of any complaint by resident engineer and quality engineer on site or supervising engineer and related staff of resident engineers. Alteration, addition, or deletion required or requested by contractor or by the employer. Valuation of what's done and extras if claimed by contractor and payments. Remedial measures to control works. Any other discussions or business in next level of meeting defects. This is general agenda. It can be varied from meeting to meeting. There's no hard and fast to make this agenda. Then we can say that after this is explanation of content of meeting. May vary every month and shall depend on type and nature of project. Minutes of this meeting shall be drafted and recorded by resident engineer or his project coordinator and circulated to all those present, to engineer, owner, contractor, and all related people on site. Special and instant meetings. Special and instant meetings. What is special and instant meeting? Of that I'll explain now. These are meetings of minor nature and can be held between contractor, supplier, and subcontractor, between subcontractor and consultant, between agent and subcontractors, between agent and resident engineer, dealing with items, systems proposed for submittals. This meeting may be held on a particular issue separately between agent and resident engineer. For example, some dispute arises on site regarding method of working and site engineers, foremen, and others, and they're not being in position to explain. Resident engineer calls on the agent and concerned staff to discuss matters and agreements, or a compromise is made how to carry out item on site. Resident engineer can Resident engineer can request or ask agent to furnish method statement to be approved by regional engineer and then to be adopted for execution of activity to be approved on site. Another example that the lapse occurs on site on quality control and regional engineer holds work as particular activity. Matter is then taken among site engineers and assistants and way is sorted out. This is an example. Confidential meetings may be held in case regional engineer and staff complaints about engineer, foreman, etc. on site. So I cannot go word by word in this. Just I like to give some clues only because it's a question of book and cannot be taken for granted, right? After that, say there's some emergency on job and contractor is called upon to discuss matters on all the contractors. Sorry, I take it up better. There's an emergency on job and contractor is called upon to discuss matters on all contractors and are called upon to sort matters out. Sometimes abbreviations are applied to the program due to unforeseen conditions. Sometimes owner wishes to delete or alter part of contract job and jurisdiction of contractors is very essential on possible situation. So this means there are various types of miscellaneous activities site engineer and site agents have to do. Now I'll say there are so many communications on site done by resident engineer contractor and by resident engineer in form of letters or in form of site memos. Generally, technical instructions are given in form of site memo, while instructions are given in form of site instructions. Now, site instruction, I just read out this one. These are instructions especially numbered in form of letters shown below. I'll just show you site instruction type is better just this. This is the site instruction. Usually clear to you, I'm not sure. It's like a site instruction and instructions given and note is given. In this subject is given, site instruction number is given, carry out following items are given. Signature is done. And it is an notice. Should contractor consider a cost variation, or extras? A variation order is be submitted and approval of affirmative response obtained from engineer before going to commence this activity. Engineer instruction is another one which is a more legal, more binding. Site instruction can be defined with, but engineer instruction cannot be defined with because this is an order by engineer based on approval by owners. Right, that's what I'm saying. So, in fact, process provisionally operates by issue of site instruction, but contractually only engineer's instruction is treated valid for purpose of claims as variations. Problem is that practically engineer's instruction takes months to be issued. Well, it was in those times, now this computer is there anyway, but we have to consider that to be inserted due to engineer's office being always busy. For efficient execution of works, site instruction Precede engineer's instruction. So means once the site instruction comes and you agree that there is no cost escalation in that, you have to start work. Don't wait for engineer's instruction, which is a legal binding instrument and can be claimed in court of law, but site instruction cannot be claimed in court of law. Site memo cannot be claimed in court of law. Well, these are parts of records proceeding on site, but engineer instruction constitutes cost factor and contract factor. That is those things. All documents cannot be considered in court of law in arbitration. It depends upon what the agreement is this. Then there is a valuation. On lump sum contracts, valuation is different type. Maybe you may say this item rate contract in which you measure items, quantity of items multiplied by rate approved and reach cost and add up all items. I'm not talking about that one. I'm not talking of CP to reals and I'm not talking about this. I'm talking of lump sum contracts, lump sum itemized, which is international form of contract according to FIDEC. And you know FIDEC, but FIDEC is international contracts, system, structured. Now it has been very convenient. Previously, in 1999, it was not that convenient, but it's a comprehensive document. And lump sum contracts can easily be done, carried out on these types of systems of lump sum contracts. Means suppose there are many buildings, you have to procure many BOQs, not one. You can sum up all quantities into one. That's not allowed in lump sum itemized contract. Suppose why the reason being that say there are five buildings and the contract is one, you say okay, I will give 500 in lump sum, 500 crores or whatever unit you adopt dollars, I don't know. You suppose five buildings are costing 500 and each building has some cost. You cannot simply sign a contract, okay, this 500 I sign with this contract with these various conditions. You just carry out the contract and take this money through these all buildings. It's not allowed like that. Yes, price is there, but this price must reach based on lump sums of each building. And lump sum of each building must be based on bill of quantities and relevant rates and prices in each building. That is the structure of lump sum itemization. Reason is, suppose we sign an agreement of five buildings, but during contract, and you say, no, I don't want five buildings, you want to add some building or you want to delete some, you want to omit some. You know, we want three buildings, we will manage that. We don't have the budget, so don't do these two buildings. But it will impact contractor because he has calculated profits, everything based on complete project. But you say, no, we don't have this, we don't have budget. What to do? You have to take out those buildings. They will dispute later on, that's a different thing. But how will you bear that cost? If you have only one price for all five buildings, pricing itself shall become a dispute. So what's the solution? Solution is the prices of those two separate buildings should be taken out and it must be paid. Management has to decide what profit loss he has because it's not his fault. It's for the management. So you have to compensate that, the profit or that's loss, whatever it is. So that is the purpose of lump sum itemized rate. And all items are covered. Those are no legal responsibility on those bill of quantities. You cannot say, no, you are legally responsible. He is not. Because these items of POQ is just a support to yourself, means as engineer, to resident engineer, to owner and to contractor, to support guidance that these quantities may be like this, but it's the responsibility of the contractor to ensure these quantities are fine. If contractor thinks no, there's some deficiency of some more quantity or less quantity, it's his headache. He has to check prior to offering tender. He has to check before and tell or inform that there's a discrepancy in this practice, as well as price location, price allotment on each item. That's very important. You have reached one price in one building, but there are say 10 BOQs involved in that building, and many hundreds items are involved. But lump sum price is one. You cannot change that once it is agreed. But item rates can vary. You cannot go even 1 unit more than any price. You have to adjust item rates, and therefore those items are there and bill of quantities. This is very complicated situation because before issuing tender, you have to work on these quantities. So engineers they work on this. All quantities are worked out each and every quantity. That's very complicated job actually. Pre-tendering is very complicated, but post-tendering, post-contract is not very complicated. That's the reason I'm saying valuation. Valuation is, first of all, let us understand in India, in this country, we say, oh, no, this estimation, this building, and this. Okay, it is building, but building for what? Building for works done. And billing for works done is valuation. Valuation doesn't mean just finding, just reaching a cost of a constructed building. This constructed work, delivered work, you have to pay for them. That's called valuation. So what quantity service used to do with value resident engineer, then they check out certain list depending on the quantities that up to this level or up to this stage we'll pay this, say foundation, up substructure, even they can say we'll pay this, after that this height, window height or sill level or roof level or slab level, whatever level they fix, whatever building is, you can fix this. Percentages are fixed for each slab, percentage level are marked. So there's no need to measure again and again because specifications are not changing, trends are not changing, design not changing, but nothing is changed. So it's the same. And even if there is change in agreement, they will not pay extra. It has to be done. So that is very complicated as well as comfortable because there's work to be done prior to tender, prior to agreement. But post agreement, you have to go with that. No way, there is no way out. No way of measuring each and every year for works you can measure. You can say, okay, percentage value, this percentage, you can say, yes, okay, this percentage you have done, so we'll pay this much. And this way, each and every group is worked out, counted, and accumulation amount is spread over whole contract. And there are so many other conditions that have to be done. So that's called valuation. And this valuation is done every month. And based on this valuation, say, oh, this project ahead or this is behind. That's this criteria is found out by that. So this is a brief brief I told what valuation is about. It's not a job, it's a difficult job, hardworking job. And you cannot release payment just because the auditor wants to release payment. If it is due, we can release it, otherwise you cannot release. So similarly, evaluation of subcontract. This valuation which I explained is regarding valuation for work done by main contractor. Main contractor, you know what main contractor is. Main contractor is, again I explained to you, main contractor means a person, party that gets directly from client or from government or whatever. That's called main contractor. Main contractor for the subcontractor. So valuation is the same thing, valuation of contract is done, and valuation minus subcontract is also done. Now I come to technical part on this. Valuation is over, say reflector ceiling plans, there is one description of that. Reflector ceiling plans, what is those? So usually there is a false ceiling, a suspended ceiling, wherever there are services, structural passing, conduits are passing in suspended slabs, they should not be visible. So they just keep little height more than 3 meters, 4 meters, so 3.5 meters they fix. Ducts are running, and other pipes are running. You can say services are running, gas is running, medical hospital, many other services there. You have to keep them concealed. So suspended ceiling is required, false ceiling is required. False ceiling you cannot just fix blindly. You cannot fix that. You have to fix lights in that, you have to keep all that. So you have to find out system of or pattern of fixing your ceiling tiles. That plan is done before starting of your ceiling or during your you can say when you are after slab. So you have to hang certain supports and you have to see system how these grids are formed, how these small angles are fixed. So that tiles should not collapse. These are electric points should be there. Electric luminaries must be fixed in systematic way. Other fixtures are in a way it doesn't look architecturally bad or decoration wise bad. So for that reflection ceiling plan is drawn and coordinated with all these services, which is not easy job means it takes time. That way the system is run and hangers are fixed, system grid is hang, and that's what reflector ceiling plan, which is maybe you know this, but this is sometimes very complicated to avoid clashes of services. Because so many complex technicalities are involved in that. I will come to, I will explain a lot about that. I cannot explain here, I cannot narrate everything here. I'll just go to next one, and that is there's a material status schedule. I explained earlier status means delivery schedule, procurement order, then process up, then delivery, approval, etc. All that. Working drawings and shop drawings explain to you completion, coordination and license. Now, coordinations have been explained. I want to tell you something specific. All coordinations cannot be explained here. Now, agents dealing at site. That's important because you all will be agents sometime, or maybe your agents site representative if you are in contact a company. So you have to deal with daily problems, which is very looks very easy in a daily program, but it is very difficult. You must be aware of if site is big, you must be aware of all activities which wherever going. If you are not aware of that, you cannot make a daily program because you have to coordinate the availability of labor, availability of equipment, availability of time, and everything. And availability of weather also, what type of weather it is. It's not you can say pleasant weather, you cannot go on concrete. You cannot do concreting if temperature doesn't permit. So you have to see that. In here, 5 to 32 degrees or a little more. You cannot do concrete. It's not allowed. You do it, it will be bad concrete. Weather is very important decision. In too cold weather, you cannot do that. So this is very important that you have to arrange all these daily activities. So sometimes your plan says do this, but you cannot do that. Depending on site conditions. So that is also very important part of management, daily management, detailed management. Then supervision. When work is decided, supervision also will decide. You cannot stand everywhere. You have to decide what works and material orders. Then you have to do side problems. You have to solve problem with the engineers and regional engineers. You have to solve. You have to solve consultants. Staff disputes will be there. When people work disputes, so definitely occur because everybody wants credit. So these are all you have to see every day. Machines are required, materials are required, labor bills and bills and this. Labor work on contract is that's also important. Means you cannot all times you work on daily wage and LP, you cannot do that. Sometimes you have to find from labor itself some workers, good workers, skilled workers, to let them do some petty works like petty shutting job, still fixing a job, do brick work or block work, whatever. These subcontracts, so little petty contracts you can give. It's also very complicated. You have to measure their work. You cannot get support all the time. The reinforcement schedule, you have to do that. That's very time consuming job, but the Excel can help you. Nowadays, programs are there. I used to work on BS 4466, nowadays 8666, something like 867. I don't know, here it's different. Maybe people don't do that. Then proposals for alternatives to regional engineer. Yes, alternatives. That is very engineering point part of it. So, there's some problems there. You are not able to do some activity for a specification something. There's some problem, genuine problem. You have to propose alternative. To find solution or discuss with engineer or you say wrong without cost, no cost variation. That is alternative. If you save time or something, or give solution or adjustment, you can do that. Not some not a big issue. And preparation of reinforcement schedule, preparation of alternative, technical study of job and instruction. Yes, technical study of job and instructions. Not technical study, which simply saying, oh, this drawing I do the work accordingly. Can you say that? I got this drawing, engineer man come. I have this drawing, I don't know what it is. I'll follow this. No, it's not like that. It is duty of responsible person, engineer, to go through all drawings, architectural drawings, structural detailing drawings, plumbing drawings, drainage drawings, water supply drawings, electrical drawings, air conditioning drawings, whatever lift drawing, so kitchen drawings, all drawings you have to say where are clashes occurring. So you have to discuss with the technical contractors, subcontractors, material available in the market, means what material they are proposing, it will affect your work. You cannot simply say this given a structural drawing will follow this. No, you cannot do that. Structural drawing can be wrong, or sometimes architectural drawing can also be wrong. Architect is given a certain room. Suppose kitchen unit doesn't fit in. What to do? Fume doesn't fit in. Sometimes there's a clash between air conditioning duct and till fittings or some other pipes. This is called technical activity and coordination. It's very important. If you miss this, means you do wrong work. Work cannot be done too fast, too rapidly, but it cannot be too slow. It cannot be too slow only when you are not too slow. Go through all details, read each specification, read all description, see drawings, align with them, sit with them, merge yourself, and find problems. If you say no, all drawings are there, all are working, you make it coordinated drawing. You know what coordinated drawing is? Coordination drawing is put your structural drawing on one sheet. Nowadays, lots of copies are available. It's not a big issue. It's just impose copies on copies on copies. And you'll see where clashes are. You can just detect clashes. It's not big. AutoCAD you can work. Or CAD category you can work anyone. It's not that difficult. But it takes time. It takes knowledge. It requires your concentration. So that is called technical activity. You have to manage the subconductors yourself. And once you reach a coordinated drawing, improve it. What will be very easy. So what is happening? Maybe yeah, I'm not sure because whatever I have experienced here, many projects different. People don't understand all this. They do not understand also. Well, that is all practical aspect, daily meetings and generalizations of this. Now, analysis of project cost wise based on program. This program breakup of cost bar chart network. Now, how you break a program cost wise? Can you do that? You need experience for that. And because of that cost control, cost breakup, you can constitute cash flow. And cash flow is very important. It is part of economics in engineering, in civil engineering itself. You cannot say this is not engineering part. This is advanced engineering and this is economics of engineering. In engineering is economics. If you don't know what budget is, how can you run the project smoothly? You are given a cost. This is a budget. You do this project and this budget. You cannot escalate budget, and you cannot escalate your cost. You have to complete work and you have to provide delivery. That is called cost control. If you cannot manage in this, you cannot deliver budget. From where you will get money for remaining work. So you have to work on budget, which is given to you by tender section possibly, and you have to analyze all items. You have to see which materials are there, what cost is there, and you have to see which cost is going there. Accordingly, you have to manage cash also. If you expect I have spent this much, I get advance on project mobilization has this, and first time payment will come, we have to spend this much. Every month you have to manage right on paper. It's projected, and engineer will ask you, do you accept this cash flow? If you are not able to give cash flow, you cannot run project. It's not very difficult, it's not very easy also. If you know budget, if you know BOQ, and if you know cost, if you know metal quantities, expenses, you can estimate, you can project. First month I will spend this one, and second month I'll get this one as bill payment, valuation payment. So go on for every month and form on your paper. So that is cash flow. You should not suffer because of cash flow. If you suffer on your side, whole project will suffer and contract will be impacted. And once contract is impacted, you know the consequence. If your contract is delayed, if your project process is delayed, you know there is a penalty clause in every contract. And that's called liquidated damages (LD). If you don't deliver project in time, owner has a right to claim liquidated damages against you. And by a per feeding, it is maximum 10%, not more than that. That is comfortable news, but it can be more. So if you pay 10% liquidated damages, what's the meaning of project? Means 10 to 15% is hardly the profits. And if you lose 10% liquidated damages, then why to do project? Is it sensible to do project in that case? So we have to think on that. And liquidated damage LD can be avoided only if you deliver job in time. And if there's a real delay, then you have to apply for extension with records. Or else, if you don't do all this paperwork, all the recording will be generally, I have seen here, probably for Bharat, it's nonsense. Our engineers, they're sleeping on these issues. They don't understand contract, they don't understand specifications, they don't understand management of system. They do not understand also. I don't know reason. What reason? And forget government engineers. I don't care about government engineers. That they are not born to work on projects. They're just born to do paperwork and that's it. But without project being done, development cannot be done. But whose job is this? It's engineer's job. It's a very complicated job. You have to control project in time. Forget before time. If it is time, it's okay. For that, you have to burn your 24 hours a day, thinking, thinking, and thinking, and doing. Concept in mind. Don't depend upon planning engineers' proposals. Forget that. That's just for sake of approvals. Go on site, check everything, think on what to do tomorrow. So information should be available 7 days at least in advance. If you avoid delay on site, you can help project. And if you don't think this way, you are not a reliable engineer in that case. Forget that. Company, you will damage company, your organization, and you will damage client also. Because he will lose on account of your delayed project and reputation. Go away. And all projects generally are delayed in our beautiful country. How? They don't care. Why forget quality? And if you ask, I ask someone, why don't you apply early contractors? There was a case that contractors were delaying this for 40-50% time. They were not scared about this. Clients say, oh, no, no, let him do it. Like, I don't want to blame that one, but this is very bad. Means when you go to arbitration, suppose contractor go to arbitration, he will go, definitely go. Who will be responsible? You know what arbitration is? Arbitration wants all nuances. Arbitration is a kind of court, not court actually, but its powers are same. Its decisions, its orders, court orders, equivalent to that. There's no need to go to court once arbitration awards something. This is the law of every country. Here also, the law of 2006. That arbitration has powers. Arbitrated, whether tribunal call it or panel call it. Arbitration panel or tribunal awards means it is executable. You have to execute that. No need going to court for award. But a decree, no need of decree. Your order itself, your award itself is a decree. So who is responsible for that? But unfortunately, I don't agree nowadays in this country in arbitration also. They are respecting advocates and judges who don't know anything about it. I am dead against this management of statute here. They want to avoid engineers. While engineers must be arbitrators, engineers must be pusher of arbitrators. They must be counselors of arbitrators. Only engineers can understand what problem is on site. How can judge or how can see that it consume problems, right? It is not a bus ticket. It is not insurance bond. It is not something. And how can he decide what happened? On site, everything cannot be written. Lawyers are not available there. CAs are not available there. You are lawyer, you are CEO, you are judge. You have to decide for each and every item in minutes and seconds. What problem exists on site? Each and every problem cannot be recorded. What should be recorded? What purpose? So we are covered up. But these judges, generally they are retired High Court judges or Chief Justices of High Court or judges of Supreme Court who have retired. Arbitration is short. Is earning base. And they charge lakhs of rupees for each sharing and they are earning money. And engineers for real professionals for this, they are thrown. They are not cared for. They don't care about engineers. I don't understand why. There was a problem with government. How can judge understand that? And how can a lawyer understand that? Of course, they can write very good language. We don't need very good language. We need good details. How can costing be done by a judge? He doesn't know anything about mathematics. He doesn't know anything about technicalities of units. How can you do that? But he can understand when concrete fails or doesn't fail. This is complete nonsense in this country. Engineer's job is arbitration. Engineer's job is support of arbitration, consultancy to arbitration. And engineers are sleeping. They have been sleeping since the beginning of this country's industrial civil engineering industry. Now they don't do anything. And you may not be understanding this because you don't take any interest. Arbitration started because of this problem. Because if you go for every issue to court of law, it will take 50-20 years. 15 to 20 years to solve. But your business company cannot wait for so many years. But for that purpose, arbitration has been brought into our profession. Repetition means you have to solve on time. We don't want to quote proceedings. We want simple to check all details. What site engineer wrote, what engineer wrote, what resolution communicated, what you wanted, what did you respond, not respond. Then was material and time available on site or not site, why not available? Whether payment was made or it was not made. These all issues are considered. So what a judge can do, yes, you don't understand it. Rubbish. Maybe you feel I'm talking right. No, it's not. It's a fact one. So similarly, deputy agents and senior agents are allowed to work on site under site engineers. I'll just give some hint about site engineers. What is site engineers do? I just read out because this is very important for young people or many of the site engineers. Site engineers, in fact, the real executive person on site on whom rests the main responsibility of implementations of decisions either taken by the resident engineer, him, his staff, or by contractor or agents. He is technical executive person or executive engineer and responsible for full responsibility as far as drawings, details, and specifications are concerned. Site engineer has to see that works carried out on site from benchmarks taken over to the finished building are done correctly and under supervision and with support of deputy engineer or assistant engineers, general foreman, junior engineers, and foremen and other site staff, and workpersons. Site engineer is fully responsible to arrange the workforce, materials, and machines for his site through agent and see that no barrier comes in his way. He has to arrange access to site, water supply for construction, concrete manufacturing arrangements, day-to-day distribution of job through junior engineers and assistants, prepare inspection requests, calling inspections people from resident engineer's office when required, checking quality of his works produced, maintenance of all records and sending to agent for further reporting to resident engineers, getting quantities of works measured through site quantity surveyors, making daily job records of sections site, checking workperson's output on progress, daily engagement of people on overtime if needed, meeting agent regularly to discuss program and priorities to advise agent on purchase of materials, to advise agent of different methods of work, to advise agent to make alterations through resident engineer and specialist engineers. Site engineer has to see that electrical, air conditioning and plumbing engineer and foremen turn on site to do job allotted to them so as not to obstruct building works in case some obstructions remain or works of those disciplines are not taken up simultaneously. In each case, agents should be fully informed through site engineer in charge. Site engineer should know complete specifications meant for job and do accordingly within tolerances as specified in specifications. Whenever some discrepancies are discovered by site engineer, that should immediately be brought to notice of agent and decision awaited. In case finds agent overbusy, he may discuss that with resident engineer himself and constitute consultants and seek decision and inform agent accordingly. Site engineers should find out good people who can be entrusted with petty contracts and discuss with agent for finalization of subject subcontract. What site engineer expects is that he should get enough material, machines, and workpersons in time to run a given work to programmed lines. He has to check that people are not absent, assisted by the timekeeper. In case separate timekeeper is not arranged, the site engineer then foreman shall assist to check absentees on site On small sites, senior engineer experience on construction sites can be entrusted as site agent come site engineer to report to contracts manager. Site engineer should attend contract site meetings and if possible also technical and coordination meetings. This is a brief description of site engineer. It can vary from project to project. There is more explanation in there, but this was enough for the time being. Then after this is general foreman. General foreman means he is also a very big blue collar person and he manages all your workers on site. He has to be explained a lot with work every day in the evening, day to day basis by engineer or agent or whoever is this. And this man controls all workers and material delivered to him on site, takes work from them. Then assistant engineer and foreman, etc. The descriptions are given in that, but it cannot be narrated everywhere, so you can 40 minutes and house her. What if plant engineer is there on site and office manager is there, time clerk and timekeeper and stockkeeper, mechanical engineers should do. All descriptions are available. This is not lengthy descriptions are there. I'll have to explain something later on. Electrical engineer should do and what all these should do. Given is electrical engineer should do what he should do and what mechanical engineers do, what a plant engineer should do, what a assistant engineer should do. So I'll just say what a plant engineer or foreman should do. You see, the person of a plant engineer is always separately designated in like general foreman or small job. He may be designated plant engineer or plants foreman and supposed to maintain services of plants such as batching plants, earth moving machines such as excavators, rock breakers, bulldozers, graders, payloaders, shovels, and all the machines given to this responsibilities such as mobile cranes, tower cranes, concrete mixers, stationary as well as mobile concrete pumps, mixers, trucks, equipments as compressors, vibrators, and all transports meant for site. He has to make them available as required by agent, general foreman, site engineer job. This is a job of plants. And then office manager, something else means time clerk, time what a mechanical engineer should do. Now, mechanical engineer shall be employed by contractor when engineering disciplines carried out by general contracting himself or with subcontractor when engineering works are subject. In either case, mechanical engineer has to dispose duties as mentioned below. Well, there's a very long list. You can say mechanical engineer want AC work and all machines, all that. I cannot explain to each and every. There are about 20 points in this. Then is work what the electrical engineer should do after that. Again, 22 points are there. What a plumbing and drainage engineer should do. There's so many more points, 15 points are there. What a road engineer should do. And engineer is supervision. Now, this is another descriptive point that will come later. This is again is getting 43 minutes already. Now, I just say something about the specialist work. Specialist was I'm explaining is in every project you shall find services contractors for execution of special disciplines or activities or systems on your job. Say for construction of a swimming pool, pool's complete system as a whole, including design part of that swimming pool I'm talking, is a part of building sometimes infrastructures in many buildings and many complexes. For treatment plants, you can say for overhead water tanks and other water tanks, for sports equipment supplying and fixing of these items per specifications, for sports surfacing of high standing comfort systems, sports surfacing, I'm talking tennis court and handball court and volleyball like that. For sports surfacing of high standing and comfort system, for chain link fencing or other fencings for security, for ornamental works, decorative works or works related to culture heritage, for works of arboriculture, greenhouse, for supplying and fixing special kitchen equipments in all respects, including cold stores, for special rooms such as X-ray rooms, plaster, squash courtroom, construction, special flooring such as rubber, special floorings, wall linings of halls, works of glass reinforced concrete, for works of electronic equipment, stones, for structural steelworks and works of particular trade specified, for walls and roof cladding elements. There is no limit for special elements in any contract but where coordination is necessary, shall be seen by agent and related engineers themselves. For example, coordination among swimming pool contractors, plumbing and drainage contractors, and electrical contractors, along with architectural disciplines, are necessary. Coordination among tiling work and underwater lights, and distribution of supply system and disposal of used water all need close coordination, for which a coordinated drawing shall be provided by site agent for approval and assistance of site engineers. Similarly, coordination for construction of a water supply and sewage treatment plant are required. Agents shall act promptly with full action program of his own to deal with these people for a successful completion of all operations to programmed bar. Must ascertain that all drawings needed for complete execution of this operation must be approved with interdisciplinary coordination of services to avoid clashes and wastage of valuable time. Then we'll come up to engineer and his supervision is very significant part on contracts. Engineer is master on contract, master in the sense is not a party on contract, but is an authority on contract. So we'll discuss this in next video because it's about 46 minutes and I don't want to keep it hammer and we'll take it later. I think we got some maybe you are getting some benefit after my speech, I don't know. I hope you may like it because it is practical. It's not degree engineering or master's engineering. It is practical field engineering, which is very important to the work of an engineer. Because engineer means you can deliver, you can work. It doesn't mean that sit in office or computer and say I will do this design and that. Design shall not work if work is not done. And design means you must have experience. You provide whatever details in drawings, and if there is difficulty on site, if this is not constructible design, you understand what is constructible. If design is difficult, what is the meaning of design in that case? Work should be done comfortably, in time, in cost, and in quality. That is called design. Simply giving undue details on design is meaningless. Design should be good, easy, comfortable, and carrying. If somebody says no, he's very complicated column sizes, very complicated beams, very complicated steel designs, bars, what's the meaning of that? No meaning of that. If there is no space for vibrator to move in column or in beam, you think design is good? Just giving 25 mm steel, 20 mm steel for nonsense detailing. Why don't you keep 12 and 16, 8 and 10? And easy, ductile detailing. Just giving cranked bar. No, nobody who uses cranked bars. No? People are doing that unnecessarily. This is what I'm saying is constructability. Design with constructability detailing is real one. A design which is questioned many times by site people cannot be called good design. If site man sends queries to design at 50% time, what is the meaning of design? Do you understand? Do you agree with this? If there are 10 drawing sheets and structures, and yeah, always whenever do any snap, when do whatever column, oh, yes, some problem, you can't understand detailing, there's a clash, column size one, architectural tax another one, and there's a duct coming here and there, electric conduit coming here and there, there's a clash. What do you do? This is a coordinated engineering, not simply civil or structural. This is a coordinated engineering, coordination engineering, which is much complicated, it's much practical. You have to see clashes are avoided. You have to see structure is not impacted upon. You have to see architecture is maintained, and you have to see safety is maintained, efficiency is maintained, defects are minimized or avoided. I can say why minimize, avoided. That is called engineering, practical constructive engineering. If you cannot construct based on certain design, some work, some projects, what is the meaning of this? It's just a piece of design show I don't want complications. I want good, complicated, and specified details, complicated to some limit, not too complicated means we don't know that. Have said, I'm not criticizing somebody. Question I have seen experience and in my experience many projects, and I have faced problems. If you have for every say for each manhole, for each column, for each when you write query, technical query, please this is a problem on this time it says that on that thing it says clarify what is required or this is my proposal, confirm this. If you have keep on this what time will be invested in this only. You consume your time. Who will work? Who will supervise? That's what I'm saying. It's not simply oh, I've done this. No, be patient. Civil construction is not train. You have to think, think, and decide. That is called civil engineering. It is a common sense engineering. It's not design based engineering. Design is based on experience. If you have experience, you can be a better designer than a fresh designer. Because fresh designer has only theory in mind, while an experienced pragmatic designer should have theory as well as practical in mind. Practicality, constructability, ease of approach, ease of doing, ease of execution. Problems on site. If you cannot vibrate some column, what's the meaning of complicated steel and small size? There's no meaning at all. You cannot vibrate, you cannot do good curing, you cannot move it fast. What's However, we'll take this further detailing of engineer and supervisor and maybe in three more videos and give required details and there are many steps I prepared on that in my for some projects which could not take up unfortunately but I did work on them. I'll show you that. I think I should close it already around 50 minutes. And I do not keep hang. So thank you very much, my dear friends. I'll close it this and take some other time to meet you again. Thank you very much. Goodbye.